Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This week we have our guest is Keith Richards with Taziki's, and I just want to thank everybody for coming back this week and viewing. We are going to be talking a little bit about Keith's work in the IDDD community and some employment opportunities, some of the things that he's been working on. So I will allow Mr. Richards to introduce himself.
All right. My name is Keith Richards, as you said earlier. I am the founder of Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe, and one of your questions is, what is Taziki's? And a lot of people who don't know the brand go, what is a Taziki's? And Taziki's is really a brainchild of mine and my wife. It started to be 1,100 square foot small little cafe that we wanted to almost mimic what we saw in Greece, but now it's turned into a larger brand, and which we'll talk about later. But what we do is we serve Mediterranean food that I'd say with a little Alabama twist, so we want to get too far to the Mediterranean, but keep it local, where we use fresh ingredients. Everything that we use in house is made from scratch. Our recipes, and we use some of the freshest produce, meats you can get anywhere. So that's what a Taziki's is.
And you're originally from Birmingham area.
Born and raised, probably 10 miles as the crow flies from here in Inslee. A lot of people know where Central Park is, so I say Inslee. They know where that is.
Yeah. So you started Taziki's here in Birmingham, and then it's kind of grown organically from there.
It has. So we started I'll rewind the tape a little bit. So my wife and I took a trip to Greece in 1997. I'm getting old, so my dates sometimes get fuzzy. So anyway, started in took a trip to Greece in 1997. Came back and opened our first store in 98. So, and actually this year in March, we celebrated our 20-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
So, yeah.
Now, that's pretty quick. If you're over in Greece in 97, you come back a year later and you're like, we're doing this. We're doing it.
Well, it took us, I was talking about that today. It took me about 4 months to say, this is what I want to do. The challenge was, where do I get the money to do this? And that was I just told this story a little while ago at lunch to a young lady that, growing up, we didn't have a lot of money. So it was, and I was working full time at Bottega then. Amy was working for US Airways. So we really had no savings. Mm-hmm. So we borrowed $50,000 on our house, like a line of credit. And that was my budget, was $50,000. And we made it. We turned the 50 into a couple of bucks. So
I really applaud you. I mean,
well,
that's putting your house. If it doesn't go through, that's your house.
That's our life. Yeah, it was everything was, and that was the decree. We could not fail. We had to be successful, or I would have had to go back to managing restaurants and bartending and cutting grass and washing cars, anything to make a dime.
Now you've worked in the food and the restaurant industry before starting Taziki's. Mm-hmm. Can you speak a little bit about that? I know here in Birmingham there were some awards that you were part of. Some of the.
Yeah, I started. I would say my first job is not. I guess it would be kind of hospitality driven, but in Inslee there was a little Baskin Robbins. That was my first job, and it lasted one day. So I didn't last long there. Did not get the 401k started with Baskin Robbins. But anyway, so after that, went to school. I was going for an art degree and jumped around playing a little bit of tennis. So I was doing nothing in college, and my sister had applied and you're too young to remember this, but Kmart used to have cafeterias. You may not know that.
I did not know that.
Kmart used to have places where you could actually sit down and eat the food. So my sister had applied at our local Kmart in Midfield, and she had already found a job. So I think I was probably hitting balls against the garage or something. And my mom said, "I have a son that's doing nothing.
Yeah, he's going to start working.
He's going to start working." So I'm like, "No, I don't want to work." So, and you know what? It wasn't so much. Of course, I didn't fall in love with the food at Kmart, but I fell in love with the connection with guests and co-workers, and I'm almost kind of like building this sense that I didn't have. I was very shy as a young boy, of not so much confidence because I wasn't confident in the food we were serving, but just this. I just started feeling like this is kind of natural to me, talking to guests and meeting people, and I really enjoy that. I'm still kind of an introvert to a degree, unless you get my kind of pull my string and I get going. But that was kind of where I found the love, just more the hospitality part of it and the connection, and just kind of started flourishing from there. Going to, after my great stint at the Kmart cafeteria, I used to love to get on the the microphone.
The little intercom.
Attention Kmart shoppers at the cafeteria looking in the store. But anyway, and tell them about our great specials. But through that time, then after school, I was a graphic artist, and I think I still have my first paycheck. I was making $4.50 an hour, which is crazy, unheard of, like child labor law.
Yeah.
But anyway, then I started getting back in the hospitality, waiting tables. I waited at Olive Garden here. Bartended at Clyde Houston's when Clyde Houston was in the South Side, and waiting tables there. And then really, and a buddy of mine, he said, "Man, you got to come to Bottega. Number one, there's a lot of good-looking, girls there. You'd enjoy that, and work with it." So I did, and I fell in love with it. I mean, day one, I fell in love with and it was that was really the tipping point that says, okay, this is probably what you're good at in life. Is that you love connecting with people. You're starting to understand some food, but I think working with Frank Stitt, who has won the awards with the James Beard Award this last year, working with him, and it wasn't so much. Because I wasn't a chef, and I can cook, but I'm still not a chef. It's watching, being passionate about food, which is, for me growing up, Mom would make the mac and cheese and cornbread dressing, which I still love. She didn't make it, unfortunately, because she's no longer here, but still remember the good food that she made, but it wasn't passionate. So how do you get passionate? So working with Frank and just seeing passion about, you're more passionate about this asparagus than I'm about my car, and making sure that the guests got everything they wanted. So that kind of started, and that was instilling in my brain what he was doing. And I thought, man, and then so we went to Greece and came back. I'm like, I can do this. I can do this, brother. I can take some simple food and be passionate about it and serve it great and put the hospitality and the guest connection together. Something. It has to take, it has to, and hard work, it has to take. And it, we're God, always praise the Lord and for his blessings, and it worked. A lot of prayer, but it did work.
I imagine you busted your butt there for quite a while.
Oh my God, it was crazy. I was telling a story a while back. So our first location was in the Colonnade, and there were a lot of fountains. There's a big fountain over there, and one kind of cascades over, and every day I'd look, and probably right where we call a through period in between, after lunch break and to dinner, I just kind of look around. Well, one day I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go there and take a nap. Yeah. I'm tired. And so Amy was in the restaurant she had quit U.S. Airways, so she kind of ran the store for me while I go take a nap. And the security guard kind of tapped me. I had my chef jacket rolled up, and I'm sleeping in the middle, not thinking that there's two large towers. So I'm laying here on my, got my chef jacket rolled up, and I am taking a nap in the sunshine, listening to that water spray, and getting a little spray. And the guy goes, "Man, you can't sleep here." And I was like, "Dude, I'm not like a bum. I own the restaurant over here." So hard work, really. I mean, it's all, you work hard, it's going to pay off. Eventually, it will come. And again, we were blessed that it did happen for us.
So really, starting out there, when you first started working in the industry, it gave you a sense of the teamwork and accomplishment there of serving the customers, and then that transformed into there is a passion here for food that I'm learning in the trade. And then when you guys went to Greece, was there any specific, do you remember sitting or eating one thing that you're like, this is what we're doing?
Yep. So we found, I'm trying to think of what island, because we were fortunate, we backpacked everywhere. We were just island hopping and sleeping on the ferries.
Sounds amazing, by the
way.
way.
It was fun. We went this year with the kids, and it was a different experience. And of course, I don't think they really got it. But anyway, there was one little restaurant. It was owned, of course, by a Greek couple, and their son spoke English, but they did not. And we found them, and they had the whole lamb in the store. And we walk in there. I'm like, okay, we're just going to try lamb. And they did this rice, more like a pilaf. So we did the rice and the lamb, and they would just take the jus off of that lamb on the bottom pan, and they'd pour it on that over the rice and the lamb. And we went there, I'm telling you, I think we were on that island 4 or 5 days. We went there every night for dinner.
Is that good?
It was like, oh my gosh. I don't care what I do. I don't care if I open up a lamb and rice restaurant. I've got to do this. Of course, the translation, getting the recipe was not going to happen, but just watching it, but knowing I couldn't come back to Birmingham and stick a whole lamb in a spit and cook it. That's not going to happen. So we had to be a little creative. Yeah. But we did, and we still use fresh lamb. So.
For anybody that has never been to Taziki's, you have to go. I went this past week for the first time doing a little bit of market research, and I will show you a picture here. Just one
Which
second.
Location? Did you go to UAB?
We went to...
That's Chase Lake.
We went to the one down off of the 31.
Yeah, that's Chase Lake. I can tell by
and I'm gonna
the back picture.
Allow the community here to see this.
I can tell by the paint color.
So as you can see...
Crooked pictures.
Yeah. Everybody's top of the line there. And my girlfriend had the pasta salad.
She had the signature. Well, it used to be, if you're in Birmingham, you know it's a Friday pasta. But that we've changed it since we've kind of broadened our spectrum. We call it the signature pasta. That's what I can tell from the picture. She has the signature and you have the gyro.
Yeah. So I asked Mr. Richards this before we went live, but
Keith.
I wanted...
Mr. Richards is my dad.
I asked Keith this before we went live. I had what I call as a gyro, but I was corrected. And how do you pronounce that word, I should say?
Gyro.
Gyro.
Gyro. It's like an E.
Gyro.
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 There you go.
There we go. So now that's settled. Now you guys know. Okay. So you guys started here in Birmingham and then really took off from one store, and you guys have grown to a point now where you're there in multiple locations in multiple states.
Yeah. So we started in... here at the Colonnade, below the summit there. Our second location was in Mountain Brook, 2 miles from here. And our third location was out at Lee Branch. So, rewind tape a little bit again. I always rewind tape because I think about things. Is on we call T2, T1, T2, and T3. That's what we call them when we first opened. So, when we opened T1, Amy became pregnant with our first set of twins. So, running that really hard, she was pregnant, so she was kind of out of the picture. She sat on a stool, I think, probably a week before she gave birth to our first set of twins. She was that dedicated. She had to, she just could not be away from, maybe it was me, maybe it was the food, maybe it was something, I don't know. But anyway, so we opened, so she had Maggie and Oliver, which are now 16, and then we opened, that was store number 2. So we went 98, 02, and then 05 we opened our third store, and she became pregnant again with our second set of twins. Yeah. So then I was like, okay, man, time out. Yeah. I don't know. If we open another store, we're going to have six kids, and Daddy only wanted 2. So we kind of stopped there. So then I was fortunate, during those years between opening the 10-year window before we found the right partners. We were always approached by people wanting to, help us, broaden our footprint, and let's make they see that Taziki's could be the F word, but the franchise, or could be a larger model. Mm-hmm. And so we waited, and then we found some partners in 08 that came in and knew them. Like they were actually we were customers of each other's brands, and really liked those guys. And they brought in a lot of technology, the POS systems, which I didn't know. I knew what POS stood for, but it wasn't point of sale.
The point of sale.
Yeah, it was something else. But it'll hit you in a second.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they brought all that in, and they said, Keith, we love this brand. We want to help it grow. And of course, I'm like, no, we got kids. I'm good. We got the 3 stores. I really don't need any, financial assistance. We're doing good. And then it was like, Amy, what's going to happen? At that time I was 40 years old when we had Margot and Charlie. And so I'm like, future-wise, I don't want to do this. I mean, I love what we're doing, but I don't know how long I can. Opportunities could be I could maybe retire one day. Where I've thought about that. Yeah. So that's what we did. We kind of, and I'll tell people, I went to the Lord and we prayed about it. And like, is this the right decision for us to give some ownership over and grow the brand? And it was the right decision. It's tough when you have to, And they've been great. I mean, they're great partners. We still what we do every day. We still go by my recipes. I put out new LTOs every now and then. But they brought in. They said once they brought in the systems, they said now I think we can take some of your we can take this and we could replicate, and we could take this and make it a bigger brand. So we've done that. Now we're at, well, we've got stores from the coast of Florida all the way to the snow-laden mountains of Boise, Idaho. So that's a little far to get to. But 87 stores right now, and then next year organically we'll grow. Like we're going to open personally a new store here in Vestavia. We'll open that probably in March. I'm hoping it better be by March. I remember my contractor going to have a word, but
yeah, a little.
And then we will open organically, and then we'll sign on. We'll probably award some franchisees next year. So we should be. I don't know if it's laminate or wood, but knock on wood, we should be at 100 by the end of next year. That's our goal.
Yeah.
I mean, if we don't make it, so well, it's okay because we're growing, at a good pace. There's no reason to rush.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going anywhere. We're just taking it. It's hard to grow a brand number one, but just rushing it, that's where you make mistakes.
You could lose a lot of what really made it.
Yes.
Taziki.
Yes. And that's always a challenge.
I applaud you for doing that. Especially
you.
at 3 locations and everything's secure. It takes a lot to give up a little bit of that control on what's going on and bring in some investors. I imagine the relationship with the investors is key. You have to find the right.
And that was key. Is that people because I'm not the smart. I always tell people I'm not the smartest guy in the room, even when I'm alone. So I wanted to bring in people that knew more that I could learn from, and that's when I brought in Mr. Bodner. Just a great partner, and that's where I learned. And it was like, man, this guy, and he's been doing it for, I think he was one of the first, probably one of the first Wendy's franchise.
Oh,
so
really?
He walked the steps with Dave Thomas and understood, growing pains and just how to keep it together.
He's a wizard, I would imagine.
He's a genius, and I love working with him.
And so growing like this has allowed you to do other things. Now, when you had the 3 stores, I almost feel like it was full-time doing that and not much else with the restaurants.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you have time to do. I lost my golf game. My handicap went up. Now it's back down, which is good. You lose a lot because because you lose a lot, but then if you step away, you could lose more. You know what I'm saying? You could lose because I remember when we talk about our sales growth and people were saying, well, if we want to get into Taziki's business, how long does it take to get profitable? And it's like, well, Colonnade was right away because we had a debt of $50,000 that we paid back real quick. T2 was good because we built on the capital that we made on our first store. So then we went to T3. It was a challenge, and our sales weren't there. So, I mean, I literally spent every waking day in that store because I had to make it right. I could not, again, even though it was paid for, I could not fail. I mean, it has, and it cannot fail. And that's the challenge you take. I mean, in ownership and business and anything you do you're personally invested in it. A lot of people shut their phones off at 5 and 6 or whenever they get off. But in our business, it's putting out fires at 9 o'clock at night, or it could be 2 o'clock in the morning when someone threw a rock through our UAB store and tried to break in. So it's every day. It's everyday work.
It's challenging, but I imagine it's very rewarding.
It is, and it's rewarding in a lot of aspects. Being able to do some of the charitable work that we do, but also being able to hire more people in the town. I mean, because first restaurant hired 14 people. Second restaurant, we needed 22 for shifts. Third store is about 36, and then now you grow that and you say, okay, each store has maybe 30 employees. So we have 8 stores here in an office. So we have close to 275 employees. To hire that, for me to know that I've had to hire that many people, and they're counting on me to keep pushing the brand forward. That's stress in itself. That's a lot of stress. But I've been grateful to have a great support team and employees that have been here just about right when we first opened.
You mentioned charity there. It's something that I've noticed throughout your entire process. You've been very focused on charities. If you could speak a little bit about the Culinary R&D and the Hope Project. Yeah,
so something that was a challenge beginning because, we made a little bit of money, but we had to, a little bit of debt to pay off. And it was like, how does Taziki's, how does Keith and Amy give back? Mm-hmm. That was a challenge. Mm-hmm. Because, once they see the sign up, people want you to sponsor softball tournaments. They want you to sponsor high school football. I mean, they want you to sponsor, blah, 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 blah. So it was like, you know what? At this point, we're looking at 20 years ago, we said, hey, we can give you food, but we can't give you monetary. I can't write you a check for, $2,000 so we can get our name on a bag of a T-shirt. But I can, if y'all were having an event, let us feed you on us. I can write that off, and we can cook the food. And that's kind of started with let us cater your event. Let us do this, let's do that. And then that kind of rolled into, well, Taziki's is good about giving back. And then once we started, and there were opportunities that we probably could have taken years ago, but I think the wonder of his work, it says let's be patient. Let's figure out what we can do to affect, not just sponsor and feed. Is it how do you affect someone's life? Yeah. And that where we're getting to is the story about Hope. Well, prior to Hope, I have met a lady named Cindy Vincent on it. We were on one of the food vendors sponsored a cruise, and so me and Amy took a cruise, and I met this lady on one of the cruise ships, and it's kind of a crazy story. I'm a drummer by trade. God's blessed me with many talents, and drumming, I don't think my parents thought it was a talent when I was a child, but practicing wasn't like, what is he doing? But anyway, there's a plan. So we met on this cruise, and I actually started playing the drums on this cruise ship because their drummer was not that good, and
you're just like, hey.
I said, hey man, let him sing and I'll play the drums, and it worked perfectly. Except for my wife was stuck out in the crowd watching me play drums, and she was rocking back and forth and dancing with no one. She should have been dancing with her husband. But anyway, so we met during that cruise. We met Cindy Vincent, and she was a job coach, and she still is a job coach for the Shelby County. And she came up, and during the conversation, I work with special needs, and I have some students I like to put in your business, and I'm like, I'm on a cruise.
It's not work time.
It's not work time, but let's talk. And, it was one of those conversations where you say, and you've experienced, I'm sure it's like, yeah, give me your number, or here's my number, call me. And you're like, I hope she doesn't call me because I don't know what I can do. And that was the thing. Oh, Cindy, here's my number. Call me when we get home. And this is about a week later, and we were on a small boat, so I'm still rocking back and forth from that ship. And I'm like, she calls me, and I'm like,
who?
Cindy. I'm like, oh yeah, special needs job coach, Shelby County. I'm like, what can I do? I don't know I want to, but I don't know what to do. So she said, Keith, stop. Let me just bring in Brandy. Let me bring in a student, and let's just see what she can do. I said, all right. And so she brought in Brandy Nivens, and her mom was Donna. We call her Mama D. So she brought in Brandy, and Mama D would not leave her. So Cindy helped coach her, and we gave her tasks to do, whether it was picking grapes or filling up salt and pepper shakers, or cleaning the tables before we open, or the chairs, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this.
Yeah.
And the kicker with that one, honestly, was Mama D came with us. So she was like free labor. So Mama D would make all the sweet tea. So if you go to Lee Branch and drink the sweet tea and your teeth fall out because of all the sugar intake, Mama D still makes that sugar, going on 10 years now. But anyway, so I thought, well, this is kind of, I love this. And what I did is I saw what it did to Brandy, but like we were talking about earlier, I was like, that makes sense. So then we got Daniel came in, and Steven. So I started, for every store we had at that time, we only had the 3 stores. I hired special needs. But back then they were students. Now they're adults, and even I think Steven turned 30 or something like last week. And I saw him and Wynn being all this morning. But anyway, so I thought, you know what, this is great. Not only seeing it, and let me tell you how it changed Keith's life. It is by knowing what they can do and holding them accountable like I do every other employee. But what I saw is the coworkers now are taking pride, not only working for us, but almost maybe a nurturing body for that person. Does that make sense? I'm trying to figure out. So it's more of like, Brandy's here, Daniel's here, Steven's here, Ben's here, Wynn's here. I mean, I can name them all. Kelsey's here. And what pride the employees do in to protect, being a protector of that one employee and helping them with some of the challenges they have. I hold Kelsey, I hold Matthew, I hold all of these people accountable for what they do every day. And if they can't work, I mean, I'm sorry, we'll hire someone else. Yeah. And I have yet to terminate any of them. It's not because I have a huge heart, which I probably do, but they come in, and Matthew knows what his job is. When Kelsey knows when, and I'm pointing this way because she's on the other side.
Kelsey's right at the next room there.
So anyway, so she knows what
I'm gonna close that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But go ahead. I'm listening.
No. So when they clock in, they have their own little number, so they clock in and they know their task for the day. They do their work. So that's one part of the giving back. And then the second part is that, again, we were blessed with 4 healthy kids. And I know the stress that Amy went through when they were young. And even today, they're 16 and 14, and it's still stressful. But if I can allow that parent sometime to either pray, cry, play tennis, do whatever you need to do, there she is, do whatever you need to do, then, wow, then I was watching something like, don't say kill 2 birds with one stone, say 2 birds ate a scone or whatever. But if I could do that, then I accomplished many things. Number one is that giving back to the community wasn't even part of the deal. It was part of helping the student, helping his parents, and helping the coworkers that they work with. That to me kind of went all full circle and completed the circle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it was a lot of different things that came together there, and it was this makes sense. Let's do this. I think that a lot of it might be a stigma for some business owners, maybe saying there's going to be a lot more work that I'm going to have to do, and may not see it in their heart to really employ people with special needs. But have you found that? What are some things that Taziki's does to make sure that it's a natural process for somebody with special needs to be introduced to the store, the other team members?
So, I mean, we've been doing it so long that it's almost second nature to us. Mm-hmm. So when we hire, like when we open Vestavia, I'll hire 2 more. I just hired a new employee at UAB. And the process is that it's just no different than any other employee. Yeah, there's some. If we're talking about processes to get them in the system, then there's going to be some paperwork that mom and dad or we may have to fill out for them. But the process is that once they get into our family, they're in our family, and we protect them, we work with them. But again, we have to know that it's a fit. I would not ask Kelsey to go back there and cut lamb. Mm-hmm. I mean, she can do, she's like Superwoman. She can do anything I ask her to do, but that's not where she's the best. She is the best at filling up soufflés, cleaning off the tables. That's her go-to. So, and that's her strong point. So the challenge with, I think, that other businesses that are hesitant for that, you have to say, does this fit what we're doing here? I mean, Abilities Plus is a great, I don't know if you know Abilities Plus, but they're a good company that out in Homewood that, they have their own shredding company. And they're a good partner. I mean, they understand what it takes. But it's got to be a fit. I mean, it has to be a fit. And so as you know, there's, we have different levels of, I've got a great employee that's been with me now. God, John's been with me for, I lose track because they've been here so long, 6 years maybe, that my man can expo and run food and do all those things. He's a high level, right? But you got some employees that, Brandy's, and she gets mad at me because when she's picking the grapes, I go there and eat them. That makes her mad. Or
they're not for you.
They're not for me. She knows that. They're not for you. Or even better, she says, I haven't washed them yet, which I'm eating dirty grapes. But anyway, so again, it just goes back to, what's a fit? I mean, I think that, so for another employer to say, how could this work with me? Or how could they work for me or with me, or, however this could happen, is that how do they fit? And I was thinking about this the other day, is that, there's some great students. We do a lot, and you start to hit on the Hope Project the program, and we can talk about that. But strap a backpack on Daniel that works at our Chase Lake, and he would probably be the best leaf blower in the state of Alabama because he's precise on what he does. When I go in that store, I know if the windowsills are dirty, Daniel was off that day. I know it. If I go to Colonnade and Steven's in there or he's not there, I know because I can see the front doors dirty. Because what we take for granted is those menial, small little that I look, to me, they're details that customers see, and those things aren't done. That lets me know that okay, they were off. But the pride that Kelsey takes, the pride that Wynn and Ben and Erica, and I mean, Matthew, everybody that no different than the other employees, the pride that they take in that work. I mean, honestly, if a machine started putting dressings and salsas in souffle cups, I would have to tell Kelsey, we got to find you another job in the restaurant.
Yeah, that's
her job, and that job will be there until she comes to me and says, I don't want to work anymore. Okay, then you can retire.
Yeah. I think everybody wants that sense of accomplishment from having a job and for providing a service, and that brings a lot of enjoyment in people's lives, just anybody. There's a really big push from the state and locally for employment in the special needs community, and I think it's a great push that you're helping at the front of the pack there, really making a difference and showing an example of what a business can do.
Well, part of it again is that we were blessed in our first store to be successful. I mean, in a lot of hard work, but being raised like I was in the Christian atmosphere is that part of that is giving back. I mean, there's so many great companies in this town that, gosh almighty, man, they give and they give and they give. We took all of our employees, our office employees down, and some GMs down to the Exceptional Foundation. So, and you want to talk about a blast. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. But anyway, there's a lot of great companies out there. But again, sometimes they're hesitant to say, well, what can this employee do? And hey man, I'm not a babysitting company. I don't have time. I'm in the food business, right? I'm in the food. We make food and I tell my employees that, oh my gosh, our job is we sell and we make food for a living. So I don't have time to babysit these guys. They're just like any other employees. They get paid every 2 weeks. But I think again it goes back to if a business owner wants to find out. Well, to me, it's where there's a lot of Full Life has a great company. Is that how do you marry the two? What's a good fit, right? Because there's some of these employees we look at and go, well, it's going to be unfortunately, it's going to be. Let me tell you a quick little story. So when I started working at Bottega, this was, oh my gosh, now 30 years ago, there was a young girl in a wheelchair. Her name was Jerdy. Have you met Jerdy yet? Have you heard of Jerdy?
I've heard of Jerdy, yes.
Okay, I've known her brother, her father Prince, and her mama Alicia, who passed. I've known her, and when I saw him, like, what is Jerdy doing? Who is this person? And I'm like, well, she's an employee here. And I'm like, okay. And just looking at it now, I'm like, it's not what Jerdy couldn't do in the store, is what she was more of a daggum cheerleader. And it's almost like just being, and Jerdy would always sit, we had what we call a table called Big Daddy. So Jerdy would always sit at that big table. So you walked in before lunch and Jerdy wasn't there, you could tell there was some kind of friction. She alleviated all that friction because, and I tell people when we talk about this, is that you're having a bad day. Really? Won't you go over there or go call Steven's dad and find out what kind of day he's having, or put yourself in their shoes. Really, you're having a bad day, man? Are you kidding me? No. Sorry. I've never bought. I'm having a bad day.
It does put things into perspective very quick.
Very quick.
And so it sounds like for businesses that would be interested in really employing someone with special needs, maybe start to buddy with an organization close by you that is in the special needs community.
Yeah.
and kind of start asking questions, and they'll help because
they'll find. So what I don't know if it's whether it's a job coach, and that's where I get some of our employees is that. So in the school system, there's probably, oh my gosh, I think, how many does Miss Sully have in Shelby County? She probably has, I don't know, 15 students. She knows which ones are rock stars, and she's going to pick up the phone, or Cindy's going to call me and say, oh my gosh, you need to meet so-and-so. This will be a great candidate for your next opening. They understand that. So depends on what level you want to go, depends on what need you have. To me, a job coach, because that job coach is working with those students, right? So they know their capabilities.
Yeah. So it would be really getting a hold of it, introducing yourself to a job coach, and wherever the business is located, and saying, "Hey, we're interested in employing some special needs kids or adults. Well, what are you thinking? This is who we are,
right?
And this is what we were thinking. What do you guys think?"
Yeah.
And so it'll really kind of bring those two together.
I think it's just and it's about a fit. Is that filing papers? Is it icing cakes? Is it, souffles in cups? Is it cleaning tables? I mean, again, those little things, and a lot of, I think the part of it, some people say, and because, and I'm very proud in our franchise, we push the HOPE program. It's the Herbs Offering Personal Enrichment. We kind of didn't touch on that, but I think 47 of our franchise locations have now got involved with hiring special needs. That is like, I don't care if I've done anything in my life, but if I've gotten those stores to hire more of these of more special needs, or the IEDs, or challenge young adults, then hey man, I will go to my grave happy as I can be.
And it's more than just that one person, because everybody in that store is a team member on that.
Oh, it affects everybody. And it's not one person.
It just goes from there. Yeah. And that's unlimited in the way it spreads there.
Yeah.
Kind of from the other standpoint, so from a business, you would reach out to a job coach. If you're an individual or a family member, and I think that there may be some like nervousness about that. It's something we haven't done before. We don't know if our son or daughter or I'm capable of doing these things. I'm afraid of rejection, scared of rejection. What would you recommend for them if they're starting out in that process?
Yeah, that's a good question. And what I would think is find a place that you like. That, again, I think it goes back to culture, right? So if you've got a good business and they've got a good culture and they're obtainable and easy to talk to, and they already kind of give back, then to me that would be like the first step. But it's all about, because listen, some of these larger companies that have to make a decision, it takes a dadgum month and a week to get an answer back. Can I hire this person? They have a slight, disability or a challenge or whatever we want to call it. And so let me get back with you. Well, that's 2 months later. We're, locally owned stores, whether it's, you need somebody to I don't know, sort pin nails or screws or whatever. Well, that's easy, and there's local businesses around here that have a great culture. We're blessed to have a town that has a really cool culture.
Yeah,
is that you will find that fit. Trust me. And a lot of people look at it and go, God, that means I got to put somebody else in the payroll, and I've got to do this. And see, and I never looked at it that way. And it's not because Taziki's is so profitable we don't care about that. No. I owe my GMs and my supervisors so tight on labor, but they know that we need them to complete the task of opening our store. Period. I mean, this morning I had a young lady that's fully capable and works the restaurant, actually is a shift leader. She was sitting right on the clock while Steven, one of our guys, and he's cleaning tables. Well, I know that she can clean tables 10 times faster, but guess what? He was on work on time.
Yeah.
That's his job. That's his job. I'm sorry if you were 20 minutes early, you can't clock in, but I think that's the thing, is that if you can find the right business owner, because it's not a burden, and what you give back, oh my gosh, it comes in tenfold, man.
Yeah. So if you are an individual or you're a family member or a parent, if you have a local company or business that you are a customer of, that you really enjoy speaking with their staff or with their owners, approach them. Do not hesitate. Say, hey, I am, or my son or my daughter or my friend is interested in seeking employment. Is that something that you guys are doing? This is who we are. This is who I am. This is how we think we would be a good fit. So please don't hesitate. Just knock on the door.
Yeah. I think, and I don't know, we're fortunate that some of our parents can come and pick up the employees, but logistically, sometimes it's a challenge getting, because they're going to work 3 hours. Well, Stephen's dad drops him off in the morning when he goes to work, and on his lunch break, he picks up Stephen. And that scenario is perfect for him. But like, let's say Ben at Mountain Brook, he takes class tran. That's his way. And then, when we talk about who we work with, is that we're starting now a program at Jeff State College, my alma mater. We're doing a culinary. It's kind of cool. We partner with Jeff State, the Horizons School, and we are creating a college credited culinary class that gets a degree, and you have to. I mean, it's pretty strong
coursework there.
It's some coursework or some math. I told them I was going to take the math and English with them if I had to. So it's accredited. So they're going to be in the culinary arts, and I'm always looking, man. I am always, every day we're looking to hire somebody. I had the conversation this morning. I mean, it's an everyday discussion. We need some, we need some this. We need some employees to do this. We need this. So it's and we have only 8 stores here. We'll have 9 hopefully in March. And again, that'll give me an opportunity to hire more.
So if anybody really likes Taziki's and is looking for a job,
hurry up. They're lining up.
Another thing, though, that Keith hit on is speak to the job coaches. That seems to be kind of like a structured place that businesses could go to looking for employment. And if you're looking for a job, make sure you go to a job coach. And those services are offered by the state. So make sure you get into that system. And
it depends on what school system you're around. If you're in Shelby County, then you're going to go probably Miss Cindy, or in Jefferson County, or even most of them. I think I've met every special needs teacher probably in the state of Alabama, just through some of the, the conventions and stuff like that. So, and they sometimes they bring them to us, and so there's nothing wrong with making that connection. Of course, they're going to be biased to their students, but hey, any way you can kind of kick that door open just a touch, you'll get in eventually. Never give up.
Keep going after it. Now, you mentioned the Hope Project. Is that something just specific to Taziki's, or is that?
It is actually. It will. We want it to become bigger and larger and greater. But so what Hope is, and again, it was me and Cindy Vincent. I'll tell you a quick little story if I have the time. So Cindy and her students at Vincent Middle High were had these little, almost like little solo cups, and they were growing these little pea pods, and they were growing a little bit of basil and da-da-da. So she brought them in. She says, look at this. The kids at Vincent are growing this. And I was like, well, that's awesome. I said, I have an idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to get back with you tomorrow. And she says, what do you got? And she knew that my brain was just spinning, which it always does. And I came back the next day, and at that time my son was taking fencing, which was kind of crazy. But anyway, he was fencing. And there's a little boy in there was fencing, and had a t-shirt on it, had Hope, and it was about something. I went, Hope. I went, herbs offering personal enrichment. And I went, it'll stand for hope. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I went back to Cindy. I said, I got a pretty good idea. I think I can make this work. I said I was going to call it Hope. Herbs offering personal enrichment. And your school is going to grow the herbs for our restaurant. She's like, I love the idea, but can we get it to fly? And I said, put me in front of your board of directors. Put me in front of the school board. Put me in front of the principal. And I will get this through. Trust me. So went to Joel Dixon, who was at that time was the principal at Vincent Middle High, and I brought my tractor up there, and we wiped out all those stupid boxwoods he had in front of the school.
Just like a brush hog.
I went in there with my front end loader and just dug them up. I just dug them up, man. And we planted basil and rosemary and parsley. Of course, unfortunately, I guess I don't know if he's still there, but he was an idiot. He did not know what rosemary was, so we had this beautiful rosemary lining the walkway when you walk into the school. And
I know where this is
gave
going.
you this essence of freshness, and this idiot weed eated all of them.
Yeah.
Like, man, they're herbs. What are you doing?
We're gonna eat those.
We're supposed to sell those, man. That's like you just killed the cash crop. So anyway, so we kept that going, and then it had a great. I'm gonna forget her name, and she's great. She's a doctor now. Oh gosh, she's gonna strangle me because I forgot her name. Oh my gosh!
But so you partnered with the school there. And
so we partnered with the school there, and then we started selling it to the restaurants, and then Shelby County High School heard about it. It's going to drive me crazy because I don't remember her name. I don't remember. As soon as we cut these mics off, I'm going, So anyway, so then we partnered with Shelby County, and they had already had they didn't have a greenhouse. So we got the funds to build a greenhouse, and then what we had there, we had, it's going to drive me crazy because I cannot think of her name. I'm going to go nuts. So anyway, so we went to Shelby County, and then they started writing grants. So we got a greenhouse, and then they really took it and said, "Hey, we want to make this part of the curriculum."
Oh, that's a really cool idea.
Yeah,
I like that.
So in Hope, in the class, you talk about science, plants.
Yeah.
You talk about measurement. The weight of the herb. You talk about money because now they're a vendor. So you have all these different aspects of almost a classroom setting. You got math, science.
It's an entrepreneurial class.
It is. So, it checks all the boxes for a student to graduate, right? So check all those boxes. We're done. But they were just so over the top. We want to get this done, and so they have pushed so hard, and they are rock stars for us. And so they created a platform, and so now we give it to different schools. Now we were associated with it. That school has a really just an awesome FFA class. Or FFA, the Future Farmers of America.
Okay, yeah.
So you got the Future Farmers of America who help build the greenhouses and work alongside, which is, to me, it's just a great story. You got the Gen Ed, the regular Gen Ed, and then the special coming together and bridging this, just making a perfect rainbow and saying, hey, we're going to help build the greenhouses. We're going to help you guys plant. And then the students come in, they plant, they harvest, they sell, and, everybody wins because, number one, I know where all of our herbs come from.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking it from some big field somewhere where it's a major farmer, and you're putting it locally and sourcing it that way. That's amazing, and in doing so,
the whole thing is like, the big trend is farm to table, farm. I'm not a big fan of that saying that, but it's true. What we do is I know exactly where our herbs are coming from. So the cool thing about it is you get these ed teachers, special ed teachers, that go, oh my gosh, you mean it checks these boxes for this curriculum? I want one. So we've got one in Calera, and I know I'm going to miss somebody. We got Calera, Vincent, Shelby County High. We're starting one of course, can't plant now, it's too daggum cold. Thompson. So we're getting all at Montevallo's, one of them. Yep. Mm-hmm. So we've got all these Shelby County schools, and then Jefferson's going to take it pretty soon. This thing's going to keep rolling, and we promote that in Taziki's. It's on our website because it's like once you hear the stories and you hear what we've done for Matthew or Tess or oh my gosh, I mean every student out there, it's life changing, and I love changing lives, I guess.
I'm blown away by you and your organization.
Well, thank you, man. We have a good time. I'm just as God made me.
There you go. Can't do anything about that.
I can't change that.
That's how it's supposed to be. Okay, we're kind of concluding here with our broadcast. I would like to open it up. If anybody has a question for Mr. Richards,
Keith,
I am going to put the number you can call. Oh, we're not writing there. Let me try this one. Okay, there we go. You can call this number, and you will be live on air. Let me make sure it posted. There it is, 205-779-8281. And my phone will go off, and
somebody better call. My feelings are going to get hurt.
Yeah, this is partially funded through the ACDD, and I had a site visit with one of the ladies, Mrs. Whitted. If you are listening, I expect a call. But kind of just going through that again, if you are looking for employment, please get off your Tucci, get out there, speak with people, knock on doors. There are a lot of people that are interested in hiring. You just have to work hard at it, as Keith has mentioned there. Now, Mr. Richards, is there anything that you would like to say to the community?
You know, we do what we do for a reason, and it's yeah, we sell food and we want to make a profit, but we pride ourselves in what we do, and again, it goes back to all of the sales that we have has allowed us to give back. A lot of people can't do that. So, you know, I've always thanked the community for giving them or giving us the opportunity to serve them. You know, this is what we do. We serve our community. And it's been, you know, again, we're at 20 years. In March, it'll be 21 years. So
it's Alabama football. Here we have a caller. I am going to
accept, press 1.
Okay.
To send voicemail, press 2.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, you are live on air. Do you have a question for Mr. Keith?
No, I do not have a question for Mr.
what are you calling, Judy?
I have accolades for Mr. Keith.
Oh no, I don't need no.
Go ahead, we're listening.
No.
Keith, this is Judy Barclay with Full Life Ahead.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I want to thank you for everything you do for the disability community and everyone else. You are a hero in our eyes.
Well, thank you.
We
I
appreciate you and everything you do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to get to do what I do. You know, a lot of people can say they love what they do. I truly love what I do, and being able to give back is just, you know, that's the easy part. Actually, that is the easy part. But thank you, Judy.
Well, Keith, you're one of the outstanding citizens, not only in Birmingham, but throughout the Southeast.
Well, thank
And
you.
I just wish more employers look to you and follow your example.
Yes, ma'am. I wish they would too, because it's not. Trust me, I don't do things that are hard. I don't think. So I do things that are easy, and this to me was probably one of the easiest decisions I've ever made in my entire life. You know, hardest decisions is how much basil to put on our new tomato soup.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the call-in.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I guess it works.
The calling works.
Yeah, the call in the Google Voice works. Okay, so we are going to wrap up here. I would like to say, if anybody has not done yet, make sure that you go to Taziki's. You can find them on the internet at tazikis.com.
Taziki'sCafe.com.
Taziki'sCafe.com. There are quite a few, 8 here in the Birmingham, Alabama area. And get the Iro. Iro, I have to say. Thank you for tuning in once again. We will be going live next week. Make sure to go to alabamacare.org and sign up for the email to be notified of upcoming guests and when we will be going live. At this point, have a great day and see you next week.